The September 28th meeting of the School Board of Charlotte County is called to order. The business that we conduct at our formal meetings enables us to carry out our mission and our vision of student success. Tonight, Dr. Gaylor, our superintendent, is going to lead us on the pledge to the flag.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, sir. Are there any additions or corrections for this evening's agenda?
Yes, ma'am, we have two. We have item H1C, out-of-state travel, and item H2C, personnel addendum number 1.
So moved.
Seconded.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the changes, item H1C and item H2C, as described by the superintendent. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have reports. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And I think we have 5 reports this evening. And our first report is a presentation to our transportation department from our Autism Speaks organization, and Mrs. Sharon Boyd is going to come to the podium and present that. Sharon? There she is. Good. How are you doing, Sharon?
He grew.
He's not
He
here.
did.
Sure did.
I do. I am Sharon Boyd. Some of you know me. Well, most of you know me. Usually for good reasons. I'm here as a representative of Autism Speaks. I started our walk long ago. Dr. Gaylor remembers when I first came and we did it. And we've raised $750,000 here in Charlotte County. Now in Lee County, too. We had to include them. But the reason that I'm here is to say thank you, which is not the reason I normally come and talk to people. I'm usually complaining, and there's no complaints here. I am so incredibly proud of our transportation department. Austin's favorite thing from day one was Tom in the morning, which was him getting on the bus. And it's always been great. And then Mr. Sherfy, who is a good friend of mine that worked with me at the hospital, wound up becoming an ESE bus driver, and it was mostly because of him meeting Austin. He and Jill Mead, I don't know if she's here, and Sandy Leak, and Mr. Duckworth, they have all been amazingly supportive of us every single year for our walk. When we moved to Estero, which was a long ways away, I had to get volunteers down there. And the Charlotte County, I can't say schools, the Charlotte County Lemon Bay High School and Port Charlotte High School sends me students every single year, and they fill 2 buses. And last year we had a really exciting moment when Dr. Gaylor approved it as I was standing on stage in Port Charlotte High. And this year, 45 minutes from start to finish of my very first email. And Dr. Gaylor and Mr. Duckworth came forward for me again. And we have 2 busloads of students heading down to our walk on November the 6th in Estero. Love to see some faculty on there. I basically want to say that you guys have acknowledged that our kids are different. You have taught your bus drivers how to recognize when Austin needs a little bit of extra attention. Like right now, right? Okay. You learned about positive behavior support, and not only did you learn about it, you embraced it. And I am amazed by that, and I wish we could duplicate that everywhere in the entire state of Florida, because when my son gets on that bus, I know he's safe, and not only is he safe, he's happy. So actually, the most important person is going to let you know what he thinks of you now, but I want you guys to know that we just love what you've done, and Austin has a little surprise for you, and then I'll give you your plaque.
Press the button that says thank you. Thank you, Charlotte County Transportation, for supporting kids with autism. May help.
Austin.
Oh, wait, he stuttered. Just a second.
Don't touch it. Okay, press the button again. Press
the
thank you.
Good talking.
Press thank you. Press.
Thank you, Charlotte County Transportation, for supporting kids with autism like me. With continued teamwork between the autism community and the schools, we can be sure our voices will be heard.
Good job, buddy. High five.
Oh.
Good job.
Okay, so he said it all. The last time I appeared before you guys, I was pretty desperate, and I don't think any of us thought that we would see the day that Austin would be doing this. But Austin's been inside there the whole time, and we just had to find him. He's now an AB honor roll student at Vineland Elementary, and he's teaching kids constantly, and he's got amazing, amazing people in his life now, and it starts off every morning with his bus driver. So thank you so much. This is for you. And Austin, you want to go over there and get a picture? Can we do a picture, please? Quick. Maybe? You want to say something? Bud wants to say something, and I'm going to take a picture because it's a mommy moment.
My name is William Sherfy, and I'm a school bus driver. I'm also a Southwest Florida Autism Speaks committee member. And last year, we had three, not one, we had three, what do you call them? Sessions. And they were on autism, which really impressed me. And I called Autism Speaks to let them know what Charlotte County Public Schools is doing. And then the fact that we are the only school system that I know of that has an Autism Speaks club. And that to me is a plus. And then what Sandra Leak and Mr. Duckworth and Jill Mead, they do, I think it's just fabulous. Last year at the very last moment, they said, we need buses. They called me, said, how do we get the buses? I said, well, first we need to call Mr. Duckworth and see what we can do. And we got the buses in 3 days. And I called Autism Speaks and I told them, I said, that's pretty hard to do. I said, because it has to go through so many channels. And we got 2 buses, and they're always filled with children. They're taken care of when they're down there. They get lunch. And on the way back, Autism Speaks does give us ice cold water for the kids when they get on the bus or before they get on the bus and they're thirsty. Autism Speaks provides that for the children. And I just wanted to let Autism Speaks know what a great job Charlotte County Public Schools is doing. Thank you.
Wow, we do have a great transportation department, and I know they don't always hear how really good they are. And thank you all from us here on the board podium for doing what you do every day for kids, and also for Autism Speaks and so many other groups that you work with. And Sharon, thank you for recognizing that. Sharon and Austin, really appreciate that. It is really special to hear that, and I'm so glad that every year we can help you out, and that's going to continue. So.
And it was very nice to hear from Austin tonight, too.
Absolutely.
That's great. Can't believe how big he's gotten.
I think he's going to go home, so you can continue.
All right. Thank you.
Have a good night.
Good night. Yeah. Oh. Report 2.
Report 2.
We have a recognition of Lowe's Charitable Educational Foundation grant. I'm going to call Dee Revelis, who is principal at Port Charlotte Middle, to the podium to introduce this report and this really special happening at Port Charlotte Middle. Dee.
Good evening, Dr. Gaylor, distinguished school board members, Attorney McKinley, Mr. Robichaud. It's my pleasure tonight to officially announce that a business partnership has been established with Port Charlotte Middle School and the Port Charlotte Lowe's Home Improvement Store. During the early summer months, the store manager approached my assistant principal and provided the school with an opportunity to enhance the physical appearance at PCMS. With consistent, clear, and positive communication, a plan has been developed over time. Port Charlotte Middle School is one of only a few of the older school buildings that still remain today in Charlotte County. Next school year will mark the 40th anniversary of the official opening at Port Charlotte Middle School. The structure has served us and the community well. Besides the quality education that it serves to our students, it has also assisted with community events, serves as a hurricane shelter, and most notably served as a safety shelter for over 800 residents during the 2004 hurricane, and in the past couple of years was named Charlotte County's only hurricane animal shelter. This has been truly a community school, and it continues to be that, and I'm very proud of it, and so is our staff. The timing for this business partnership could not be better. I would like to turn the microphone over to my assistant principal, Dr. Michael Desjardins, who will provide you with a few special introductions and announcements about this partnership. However, I would like to take this opportunity to personally thank Lowe's, but special thanks goes out to my assistant principal and a couple of my very own staff members who will be introduced tonight. The plan has been seamless. For the first time, I personally met the store manager tonight. I gave the assignment to Dr. Desjardins. He took the ball, ran with it, asked some of our staff members for assistance as well, and it's truly been a very positive and worthwhile project for Port Charlotte Middle School and Lowe's. So at this time, I would like to go ahead and turn the mic over to Dr. Desjardins, who's going to lead us through this presentation. Thanks, Mike.
Well, thank you, Mr. Revelis, board members, and Dr. Gaylor. As Mr. Revelis was saying, this summer I received a phone call on a Friday afternoon from Miss Amy Jameson, store manager of the Port Charlotte Lowe's. Miss Jameson mentioned that there was a Lowe's Superheroes grant that she was willing to help write that could possibly bring thousands of dollars to Port Charlotte Middle School to help with improving the interior and exterior of the school. I immediately told Miss Jameson that we were interested, and we began to work on getting all the information together needed to apply for this grant. With the help of Brad Gibson, stand up, Brad, Miss Ashley Monier, two of our finest teachers, Gene Spur, Director of Facilities, Mr. Jerry Olivo, and numerous Lowe's employees led by Miss Jameson, we are proud to announce that Port Charlotte Middle School was selected to receive the grant in the amount of $47,000 for school facility improvement projects. The unbelievable effort of Miss Jameson and her Lowe's employees made this grant happen. They simply went above and beyond for the students and staff of Port Charlotte Middle School. Even more important is the commitment that Lowe's has and is continuing to show. Their employees will be providing many hours of volunteer time to assist in a wide variety of projects around the school. Port Charlotte Middle School will be benefiting from free, professional, experienced labor from Lowe's employees who are donating their personal time. Last night I was at our SAC meeting around 6 o'clock, and I went out to the front of the school to make sure the doors were open on a side note, and I had some individuals taking pictures of the front of the school. So as an administrator, the first thing you do is you walk over to figure out why people are taking pictures. It was Lowe's employees taking pictures. They're going to be helping us with the landscaping out front. Just to give you an example, 6 o'clock at night, have their own families on their own time, giving of their time. In reality, the amount of free labor really doubles the amount of this grant when you add it together. I would like to ask Ms. Jameson, manager of the Port Charlotte Lowe's, to please come forward to present the check of the Lowe's Superheroes grant, and her employees, please.
The thing I wanted to say was that as Lowe's volunteers, our heroes are very excited to help with the community. And the team that you have and teachers in that school, everybody, as soon as we mentioned this, all of our employees were so excited and immediate response, as well as our Northport Lowe's store. So they're also going to be helping with the volunteer. Our installers, professional, volunteered again their own time to come in to do tiling projects, fencing projects. And so again, it will be the same professional installation that we use for our customers will also be given to the Port Charlotte Middle School. So it's just been one of those projects that was just so easy to sell. It's a great school. It's in the heart of Port Charlotte, and Port Charlotte has been great to Lowe's. So I want to thank Dr. Dee and Ashley and Brad, and they've just been phenomenal in their help. This is my assistant manager, Michael Narrow, and my HR manager, Deborah Hope. And again, we've all taken on this exciting project. So thank you.
Thank you.
And on behalf of Port Charlotte Middle School, we'd like to present you with Outstanding Partnership Award, and thank you personally. Writing a grant is, if anyone's written a grant, it takes a ton of time and effort, and every time we've called, you've gone above and beyond. We'd like to thank you for that.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. We appreciate our business partners. We just couldn't do what we do without you. So thank you very much to Lowe's. And next we have the annual school health services report.
Don't forget the big check up here.
Oh, yeah.
I think you're going to want to display that, right? I'm sorry, Miss
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, ma'am. We have the annual school health services report, and I'd like to call Gail Buck, our supervisor of district health services and CFF, Children and Families First program, to the podium. Gail, welcome.
Good evening, Madam Chairman, school board members, and Dr. Gaylor, Mr. McKinley. Thank you for the opportunity to share a brief overview of the 2009-2010 Annual School Health Services Report. The report covers basic and full services during the reporting period from July 1st, 2009 through June 30th of 2010. The types of health conditions that are identified through review of emergency information records, student health assessment forms, and physician diagnosis on medication administration forms are as follows. ADD, ADHD, 1,241 students. Allergies, 2,480. Asthma, 1,492. Bleeding disorders, 37. Cancer, 20. Cardiac conditions, 78. Cystic fibrosis, 13. Diabetes, 58. Seizure disorder, 234 students. Kidney disorders, 19. Known psychiatric conditions, 292. Sickle cell, 10. For a total of known disorders of 5,974. These numbers reflect the combined grade levels pre-K through 12th grade. On page 5 of the report, section 1-D2 gives you a concise picture of the procedures completed in just 1 week in your school district. The data is gathered during the FTE week of February 10th. The totals are from all grade levels. I'd like to take a look at the very first one on the procedure. It's carbohydrate counting. And as you can see, 218 encounters took place in just 1 week. The process of counting carbohydrates is time-consuming and must be done with due diligence, as this is the formula that may be used to calculate the student's insulin dosage. This all takes a great deal of time, a great deal of effort, and a great deal of coordination. In addition, on that week, 18 catheterizations were completed, 26 tube feedings were completed, 79 glucose monitorings were completed, 36 insulin injections, 72 inhaler procedures, 657 oral medications, 32 other medications by other routes, and 1 student on intermittent oxygen, and 3 students with tracheostomy care. I hope that this brief overview gives you just a snippet, one little picture of what your health services are being offered to each one of the students on a daily basis. I would also like to personally take this opportunity to thank each of you for your continued support for nursing services. We know that students do succeed because together we're always working for their benefit. Are there any questions or comments?
I just, having been in the classroom for such a long time, I know how important it is to have the nurses there. It also, not only this, but child has fever, or head lice, or any of these types of things, you can just send them to the nurse, and you know they'll be taken care of. If we didn't have them, they'd be in the classroom or down in the office waiting to go home or whatever. So you provide such an important service, and I thank you for that.
Thank you, Ms. Miller.
We do appreciate and value very much our nurses in our schools. The services that they provide are just incredible. I'm always amazed when I look at the report at the numbers and the variety and the breadth of the things that they do. But it's a wonderful thing, and it helps those students achieve student success. So we appreciate it very much.
Thank you, Ms. Seifert.
Thank you, Gail. Really appreciate as well what our nurses do, and I noticed that on the rest of, following on the agenda, you have your performance contract with the health department, which pays for some of that. So hopefully we'll approve that this evening. So thank you so much for all you do. Really appreciate it.
And next we have National School Lunch Week, which is October 13th through 17th, and we just can't wait. It's always fun to see what our food service people do in this presentation.
We do. So our Director of Food Nutrition Services, Terry Whitaker, is going to come to the podium and tell us all about what's on our tray.
Thank you. Very good. Good evening, Madam Chairman, school board members, Dr. Gaylor, and our esteemed attorney, Mrs. McKinley, along with Mrs. Robichaud this evening. We thank you for this opportunity to celebrate National School Lunch Week 2010 with you. Our theme, as Dr. Gaylor mentioned, is What's on Your Tray? And we thought this theme presented an excellent opportunity to highlight the foods and menus that our customers enjoy at Champs Cafe, where our focus has been on healthy, nutritious meals for many years. On our printed and web-page message to parents for our October menus, we gave you a copy. We asked, what's on your tray? And we compared a lunch sent from home, such as a Lunchable, that would be purchased at Walmart, Publix, or Winn-Dixie, with a meal from Champs Cafe. There are great advantages for students to eat a school lunch. One would be the cost savings perspective, and then there's the nutritional perspective. But I would also hope that our meal tastes better than what would come from the grocery cold section. Dr. Gaylor, I've enlisted the assistance of our school board members tonight to help the Champs Cafe team promote the healthy meals we serve our students and staff each day. Mr. Swift, what's on your tray?
My school lunch tray features a Champ Pack, which is a smiley face made with cheese for eyes, ham for a smile, and a carrot nose. This elementary meal includes mixed vegetables, broccoli, mandarin oranges, crackers, and 1% low-fat milk.
Great, thank you so much. The American cheese is USDA commodity product. It's 50% reduced fat and 25% reduced sodium. The ham is also a USDA commodity product, and it's actually turkey ham. And that makes it something that our children with religious preferences who cannot eat pork, they can also have our ham. Our Champ Smile Pack meal is actually a daily choice at the elementaries, so if a student does not prefer the featured menu item, if we're having spaghetti or baked chicken, they can choose a Champ Smile Pack as well as the other food items to create a healthy lunch. We also honor vegetarian requests at all age levels, and our managers work with the students, their parents, the physicians, and our school nurses for special diet needs. As you heard Nurse Buck mentioned, we have students with a lot of health challenges such as diabetes and cystic fibrosis and many with food allergies, so we coordinate with them. Mrs. Messina, what's on your tray?
Well, my tray features sliced turkey breast on whole grain bun, green beans, and a relish cup with fresh carrots, cucumbers, and broccoli offered with ranch dressing, applesauce, and lactate milk.
Thank you. The sliced deli turkey is a USDA commodity product, and we have been able to return to whole grain buns for our customers this school year. That's thanks to the work of my department, Penny Moyer and Don Bach, and Greg Herlene's purchasing department. We now have a great competitive bid in place that brought the price of whole grain buns down to be more affordable for our budget. And the lactate milk is also new this year, and we use that to substitute for regular milk if a parent tells us that a child is lactose intolerant. The turkey deli sandwich is a choice at both elementary and middle schools every day, again, just in case a student would not prefer to have the featured menu item. Mrs. Miller, what's on your tray?
All right. My school lunch tray features a meal for a middle school student. This lunch includes a slice of whole grain stuffed crust cheese pizza, tossed salad, spinach, 100% frozen juice bar, and a non-fat skim milk.
Thank you. The whole grain pizza is USDA processed commodity product, which means our cheese is diverted to Gilardi, and that's a pizza company who won the low bid for the child nutrition specifications set forth. They make our pizza using our allotment of cheese. That way the cheese never arrives here. It just goes straight to the company. The 100% frozen juice bar means 100% juice, and it features the Fresh from Florida label, provides 100% of the child's daily vitamin C also. This school year, in addition, we have the 1.5% chocolate milk, 1% low-fat milk, and the lactate milk. We are also offering the non-fat skim milk. Mrs. Rendell, what's on your tray?
My school lunch tray features a lunch for high school students. The chef's salad includes lettuce, carrots, red cabbage, spinach leaves, radishes, cucumber, and tomato, as well as cheddar cheese and turkey ham. The fat-free ranch dressing is one of the choices for customers, and a serving of pineapple, 1% low-fat milk, and a freshly baked homemade yeast roll completes this meal.
Thank you. The cheddar cheese offered in the salad is reduced fat, and our recipe for yeast-raised rolls includes whole wheat flour. Chef salads are offered at all age levels and for our adult customers as well. Elementary student customers pay just $2 for a school lunch, and the secondary student customers pay $2.30. If a family is eligible for reduced price meals based on the number of people in their household and the amount of income in that household, then they pay just 40 cents for lunch for the student. If a family is eligible for free meals, then the student receives their meal at no charge. And I'm proud to announce, as you saw in our emails, that as of last Friday, parents and guardians of our CCPS students can now apply online for free or reduced price meal benefits. And this electronic application means families can choose, instead of going with the paper route, they can go paperless, which translates into less time spent completing the form, because this form would have to go home, be filled out at home, come back to school, come back to our office. So there's a longer timeline there. Our network technician and computer genius, Dan Leach, is going to show you where on our website you can suggest to a parent or guardian that they can easily find this. Right now, Jennifer Kempton has the under Quick Link, she has a free and reduced price meal application right there on the home page. So the parent would click on that, and there it is, direct link to apply online.
Has anyone done it yet?
Over the weekend, we launched at 4 p.m. Friday. We had 2 find it over the weekend with absolutely no promotion, and we think we've had about 2 others. And remember, the bulk of the people for the school year really have applied at this point, so we were really excited. We especially want families to know that they can apply any time throughout the year. So if something changes, they can call us with the income change, someone is added to their household, that type of thing. And we are so grateful for the assistance of our school social workers, because they also dive in there and help these families who are really intimidated by the paper form, and now they can guide them to this or help them fill out a paper form. So, Mrs. Seifert, what's on your tray?
My school lunch tray features a lunch for a high school student. This nachos meal is comprised of tortilla chips, beef, and reduced fat cheese topping, lettuce and salsa, corn, a fresh orange from Florida, and a 1% low-fat milk.
Thank you. The beef crumbles in this meal are a USDA commodity product, and they are fully cooked to 160 degrees Fahrenheit before being frozen and shipped to us. This reduces the chance of E. coli and other bacterial contaminations. Since the nacho toppings, the flavored beef and cheese, both contain sodium, we've switched to an unsalted tortilla chip for our customers. We at Champs Cafe are more sodium conscious than ever, reducing sodium in our recipes and choosing lower sodium products so our customers will be accustomed to tasting the food instead of the salt. We are also asking our vendors to require food producers to reduce the sodiums in the food that they produce. And of course, you've seen probably on the national news, there's just kind of a national movement toward this, and we're very happy about that because we need those products to be available. We know at Champs Cafe that our immediate short-term goal is to provide food that our students like so that they will choose to eat with us each day and be refueled for learning. But our long-term goal is that they would develop those healthy habits for a lifetime so that we have to provide the proper nutrition. As we collect your trays, we have a gift of freshly baked cookies for each of you. Inside your bag are 2 pink cookies like the ones that will be offered this Friday as part of our Bake a Difference community service project.
Thank you. Thank you.
We'll be giving an Otis Spunkmeyer pink cookie to our adult staff members who purchase a meal.
You're the best. Thank you.
And Terry White came this evening in our Hope T-shirts. We've had a fundraiser running for our own group so that we can donate some money to the Susan G. Komen Foundation through our professional organization. The other cookies inside are some of our reduced fat cookies. They're carnival cookie and the oatmeal raisin. And of course, these cookies also have no trans fats. So if we're going to give our customers a cookie, it's going to be the healthiest cookie that we can find. Last, you should have a package of our Smart Cookies, and this is a new product that we are putting on the trays. And these either have the U.S. presidents or the state capitals, so that there are little learnings going on while they're there. And I noticed that the states are actually embossed in there, so you actually see the shape of the state too, so we have a little reinforcement going on. So thank you so much for helping us celebrate National School Lunch Week. What's on your tray 2010? Did you have any questions?
Thank you very much. It's always amazing to hear what the latest is. And, you know, I do have to say, you say that, you know, this is coming out in the news or whatever, but whenever I hear something in the news, you all are always ahead of the game. You've already started it or looked into it, or our students are already receiving the benefit of this change in the dietary regulations or whatever. So you all do a great job. Great job.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. I just look forward to the cookies every year. And you never let us down.
No.
It's better than the broccoli. I mean, you know.
Yeah.
Well, she could have put broccoli in there.
That's what I was expecting. It's unusual.
Well, you had it on your tray.
That's true.
I had to make sure he had broccoli in his.
Absolutely.
That was the.
I love that she gave you the smiley.
What a great job you do. We just so much appreciate it. I always enjoy walking into a Champs Cafe somewhere and just smelling everything that you can smell during the morning. And I know the kids are getting a great meal, and I often watch them eat it, and they're just digging in and loving it. So thank you so much. It's just such a nice thing to see that we have great food. We have incredible employees who make wonderful cookies and a variety of other things, and what you do for kids is just almost beyond estimation. So thank you so much for providing what they need at breakfast and lunch, because we know so many of them don't get that breakfast and supper. So thank you. Thank you. Thanks, Terry. And you can stay right there.
Thank you.
Because you get to introduce the next report that we have, which is our Murdoch Middle School Champs Cafe DVD production.
This is such an honor to present an exceptional educational DVD and the village that created it to you this evening. Back in February 2010, again, we're watching the evening news for several days in a row. They were talking about, should we add to labels of food that this food is a possible choking hazard? And so that in turn led me to talk to the managers about, well, do we need to start eliminating some of these foods from the menus? Because there are some foods that are higher choking risk for children than others. So I tossed this question to them, including Pat LaBella, our manager from Murdoch Middle School, and asked them, should we eliminate these foods? Well, their overwhelming response was, well, anyone can choke on any food at any time, at any age. So let's drop back and let's educate people on Perhaps they shouldn't be running while they're while they're eating. There's a thought. Laughing, that type of thing. So we decided that we would partner with a team of people, creative people, and educate them. Now we have these posters. I want to make sure you know we have a How to Save a Choking Victim poster in every cafeteria so that it is referenced there in case someone would have a choking incident. But we decided to knock on the door of a longtime colleague of mine. That doesn't mean that we're old. It just means that we're experienced. And that would be Mr. Gary Holinsky. And I took with me to one meeting the research that Joanne Terry, my office staff member, had come up with from some internet resources and that. And we had this meeting with his creative team there at his TV production. We talked about consulting with the American Red Cross because they have procedures for rescuing choking victims. We talked about the role that Gail Buck, our nursing supervisor, would play with this, that we wanted to make sure everything met her standards. And then the magic began. I watched Mr. Holinsky carry out the most wonderful brainstorming session that I have ever experienced, and I've been in a lot. He has such a way of encouraging these students to be honest, to speak up. He's made it such a safe environment for his students, and I just was so thrilled. And not only did I hand this to him in late April, but they accomplished this and had those DVDs out and in the schools, able to be played by the end of the school year. So, without further ado, Mr. Holinsky.
Okay, now I'll tell you the real story. Okay. When Terry called me up or emailed me and asked me to do this, sometimes things happen and it's the right time. This was absolutely the wrong time, okay? It was the end of the school year. We had inventory. I had our end-of-the-year meetings. We're working on the new program from the library thing and trying to get the inventory done with that. Can't do it, but Terry, of course, has her ways, and so she came to me, and may I digress? Dr. Mike Desjardins comes up here. I had him in 8th grade. He was slinging a video camera on his shoulder at Port Charlotte Middle School. It's like, I've been doing this a long time. So anyway, we got together, and as she said, we talked about this, and of course, the support from my principal is always there. Oh, you can do it, you can do it. So Maria Gifford's always, saying, come on, you can be creative. So anyway, I get with my students, and I have 3 right here. Wave your hand. And we get to talking about this, and we come up with one major premise. First of all, by discussing this, choking's scary. It's a scary thing. And all of a sudden, everybody had their story. I've got mine, you've got yours, your son, your daughter, somebody you're in a restaurant, and it's scary. And the one thing they said that really made it work was they're going to laugh. They're going to laugh when we tell them the choking stuff. So if we imitate a choking thing and somebody comes to their rescue, middle schoolers are going to laugh. Okay? Because they're going to know their friends walking around, oh, nothing happened, look at them imitating choking. So we had one major premise, and that was we had to keep it serious. And we didn't know how we were going to do that. So they wrote their scripts, we got together, and we called Gail, talked to Dr. Widmeyer and this and that, had a few inputs here and there, and came up with a script. And like they always say, the poem, the script, the movie, all of it stands on its own terms. So that's what we want you to see, and we'll let you take a look for yourself.
A child dies every 5 days in the United States because of choking.
17,500 children under age 14 were treated in emergency rooms for choking in 1 year.
Whenever it comes to choking, it's no joking matter. Always chew your food, don't play games, don't run around, don't talk, just eat your food.
Did you know in 1 year, 160 children 14 or younger died of choking?
When you're eating, a little flop of cartilage in your throat, how The epiglottis will kick in and cover your trachea, which shares the same opening with the esophagus. And the esophagus is where all your food and liquid go down, and your trachea is where your air goes down. When you're choking, it means that your epiglottis didn't kick in at the right time, and your food went down your trachea.
A hot dog is the same size as a small child's airway and can easily become large.
The most common choking hazards are apples, hot dogs, peanut butter, raisins, hard candy, and chewing gum.
We were going home from school, and, I don't know, she had candy in her backpack from some sort of reward thing. And so she started eating it, she put too many in her mouth, and she started chewing on it, She went to go swallow it, and she started choking. And then, she kept, hitting the counter. And then I got behind her. I didn't exactly know how the number was or what to do, but I just found a spot, right under, and pushed up and in instead of just pushing straight in. And then eventually just came out. When Vanessa's friend was choking, she laid her on the table as a sign of help. What you need to know when you're choking is the universal sign for help, which is your hands clutched against your throat.
Si te estás jugando, la señal universal para avisar que necesitas ayuda es que agarres tu cuello con tus dos manos, así.
A choking victim may turn pale, blue, or black. If you see somebody choking, ask them, "Are you choking? Do you need my help?" Without help, a child with a fully restricted airway will be dead in 4 to 6 minutes. 2 years ago, while I was in Haiti visiting my father, we were all joking around, just sitting, laughing around the kitchen table, and I was chewing gum when I began choking. And I wasn't really sure what to do, so luckily my father was actually practicing medicine, and he performed the Heimlich maneuver. Remember, choking is a serious matter, and even 3,000 adults die each year from inhaling rather than swallowing their food.
Choking is a crisis that may happen to any of you. One of your best friends lost their life because you didn't know how to help. You need to know what to do when someone is choking, so listen up and you can be someone's hero. To help someone who is choking, you can perform the Heimlich maneuver by wrapping your arms around their waist and placing your fist thumb side against the abdomen and pressing in with quick upward thrusts to force the air through the windpipe. It may take several thrusts to help the choking victim. If a small child is choking, place them across your arm where they are nearly upside down and strike them between the shoulder blades with the heel of your hand. Don't forget, if you're choking, grasp your throat to let someone know that you need help. So be careful when eating. Don't laugh or jump around. Chew your food completely, and always be alert just in case someone else might be showing the signs of choking.
Any questions?
That was really, really good, Gary, and thank you, and of course Terry for coming up with that idea, and your students. What great. You hit a home run with that. It is serious, and anybody who watches that is going to pay attention to it, no matter what grade they're in or how old they are. That's really striking. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. I think it's kind of amazing what you can do with a concrete wall and some lights. Sometimes you don't need all the flashing lights. So I appreciate you doing it.
Good job. Very effective.
Very well done. Thank you. And that concludes our reports. We don't have any old business this evening. So at this time, I will recess the regular meeting so that we may hold a public hearing on the school board policies that have been submitted for approval. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. We have 30 policies in front of you this evening, and part of those policies have been submitted to you by Barbara Melanson and some by Donna Widmeyer. So, Barbara, I think you're up first, if I'm not mistaken, on some of these policies. So come on up and bring Dr. Widmeyer up in a couple of minutes to hit the high points.
Madam Chair, board members, Dr. Gaylor, Mr. McKinley. First of all, I want to say that it's extremely difficult and unfair to have to follow such wonderful presentations, and especially to talk about school board policy. So I apologize for that. You have before you a number of policies. They're revised. Some have recommended for deletion. Some of them are new. And these policies cover personnel, students, and also community relations. You have reviewed and we've discussed these policies at a school board workshop. So having said that, if you have any questions about the personnel and the community relations policies, I'll be glad to answer those questions for you. And Dr. Widmeyer is here in case you have any questions or comments about the student policies.
Any questions? We did cover them
well extensively. Yes, we did, very extensively. So that's all I have to say.
Okay.
Thank you all again for all of your help with the policies. I really appreciate the time that you take in workshop and on your own reviewing them. The public really has no idea how much time you put into something like this, so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, thank you. And we do appreciate the time that you and Dr. Widmeyer have put in on these policies as well. Mrs. Robichaud, is there any member of the public that is here to address these policies?
Move to close the public hearing.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we close the public hearing. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. At this time, we will resume the regular meeting. And Dr. Gaylor, we have a recommended action.
Yes, ma'am. Normally I read the numbers of these policies into the record, but I don't believe I'm going to do that this evening since there are really so many of them. So I would recommend approval of each of these 30 policies as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the 30 policies that were submitted to us. The numbers are on the agenda. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we move on to item H1, the new business consent agenda. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. I recommend that we approve the consent agenda submitted this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the consent agenda as amended. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next is item H2A under the action agenda, the superintendent employment contract. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am, and I'd like to call Dr. Whitaker to the podium. This is his employment contract, and he wants to say a few words about his forthcoming transition into the superintendency in this contract. Dr. Whitaker.
Good evening, Mrs. Seifert, board members, Mr. McKinley, and Dr. Gaylor. I just want to thank each of you, particularly Mrs. Seifert and Mr. McKinley, for making this process a very easy and collaborative one. I've watched in my history in education contract negotiations between boards and future superintendents unravel very quickly to the point of superintendents rejecting the offer to come as superintendent. And I really appreciate the spirit of openness and good communication that that we followed in this process. So just wanted to take a moment and thank you all, and Mr. McKinley especially. A lot of
I hope you feel that way in the future.
revisions went back and forth. So thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Congratulations. Thank you. I would recommend approval of Dr. Whitaker's employment contract as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the employment contract for Dr. Whitaker as submitted. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have item H2B, the 5-year work plan.
Yes, ma'am. I'd like to call our Assistant Superintendent for District Support, Jerry Olivo, to the podium. Jerry is going to briefly hit the high points of this 5-year work plan. This was workshopped with you in August and has been submitted for comment to both the City of Punta Gorda and the staff of the Board of County Commissioners. Jerry?
Thank you, Dr. Gaylor. Madam Chair, school board members, as you know, the 5-year district facility work program is a very important document. And as Dr. Gaylor mentioned, you've had an opportunity to review and discuss the work plan at a recent school board workshop. As you also know, the Department of Education, our legislators, Governor's Office, Division of Community Planning, Growth Management, our local governments, and others use the work plan program information for various needs, including planning and as an authoritative source for school board facilities related information. District facilities work program must be a complete, balanced capital outlay plan that is financially feasible. This evening, District Support Services request your approval of our current school district facilities 5-year work plan, and I'll be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for Mr. Olivo? Again, this is something that we did cover at a workshop. We appreciate you bringing it tonight.
Thank you.
Recommended action?
Yes, ma'am. I'd recommend that we approve the 5-year work plan as submitted to you this evening.
So moved.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve the school district facilities 5-year work plan as submitted. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And we have item H2C, personnel action, out-of-field teachers, revised interim salary schedule, job description, and addendum number 1.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And of note on this set of documents you have before you are, of course, the out-of-field teachers list, and you know we have to have that approved by the board prior to the October FTE period, which comes about beginning Monday the 11th of October. The reason for that is, of course, that if that's not approved, the children that are in classes with out-of-field teachers are not counted for FTE, so we don't want that to happen. So that is why that's always before you in September, and it is tonight. Of note also, on the transfers list are Chuck Briner, and Chuck, I think, is still back here. Chuck, wave at us, who is currently the assistant principal, one of the assistant principals at Murdoch Middle School, being recommended for the Director of Human Resources this evening, and he'll start the middle of October. Also, Dr. Whitaker, from Assistant Superintendent Learning to Superintendent. And I believe that's the things that we have of note on the personnel agenda. We also have the job description for Deputy Superintendent. And as you know, Dr. Whitaker is not filling his position when he takes the superintendent's position in order to save the district money and to do some reorganization. So Dr. Widmeyer is going to take both her division and Dr. Whitaker's division as a deputy superintendent, and that is the job description that you see at the end of these documents. Then with that, the revised interim salary schedule has the salary for the deputy superintendent and several other additions and corrections that Mrs. Mellinson made. So that is the extent of the personnel action agenda. It's actually pretty extensive this evening with our out-of-field teachers and those other documents. So I would recommend approval of the personnel action, out-of-field teachers, revised interim salary schedule, and job descriptions this evening.
So moved.
Second.
And this also includes the addendum.
Yes, ma'am, and the addendum number 1.
It's been moved and seconded that we approve personnel action as submitted this evening with the addendum. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Next, we have citizen comment. Mrs. Robichaud, is there any citizen that wishes to address us this evening? Thank you. Attorney comment. Mr. McKinley.
Nothing tonight. Not
Thank
a thought
you.
in my head.
All right. Thank you, sir.
Nothing unusual.
Yeah, right.
Board member comment. Mrs. Rendell.
Thank you. I'm so pleased that the newly formed Arts and Education Task Force for Charlotte County wanted to meet with all the board members and Dr. Gaylor and Dr. Whitaker last week. We cannot afford to give all of our students the arts education that we would like to, and that's why it's important that a group like the task force help us to provide the services and offer our students the different programs that they have to offer. So I was very pleased that they formed their group and that they approached us and are willing to be partners with us to help deliver our arts education to our students. I know many of us will be there on Friday at the Arts and Humanities Council, and we'll probably see them again. So I'm certainly going to be talking with them some more and thanking them for their support. And also, I was listening to the radio a couple of weeks ago, and Frank Deswin, the property appraiser, was on there talking to Ken Lovejoy, the host of the show. And Mr. Deswin was talking about the trim notices that everyone receives with their tax notices, and he for a couple of minutes explained in detail how the school board has very little control over our school millage rates for the school taxes. And even Ken Lovejoy got it, that the state legislature sets our millage rates every year, and we have almost no control over it. And it's good to see that it's out in the open and the public understands it now, or when they hear it, they get it. We are not like the Board of County Commission or the Punta Gorda City Council, where we set our own millage rates. So I was glad to hear that was once again out on the airwaves, that we, for the most part, do not control our millage rates. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Mrs. Miller.
Yes, as a follow-up on the Arts and Education Task Force, I attended the Arts and Humanities Policy Council meeting, and at that meeting they voted to support Amendment 8 and the continuation of the quarter mill, and that's a follow-up from the information given out at the task force. That's all I have.
Good. Mrs. Messina.
Well, on the arts theme, I will just inform the board that when I was attending the Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards, Mr. Crawford and I sat down and kind of penned a document specifically designed to distribute to the arts groups to support the quarter mill. So I have that I'll be distributing to you. Also, I have the proposed legislative platform from that Greater Florida Consortium meeting. And remind you all that next year, because this district is going to be serving as the chairman of that organization, we, and notice I did not say me, but we will be hosting the annual gathering of Greater Florida Consortium of School Boards members to have this platform setting meeting. So we'll need some teamwork for that. We have a year to plan it, but keep that in the back of your mind. Dr. Whitaker, I too am glad that the contract negotiations were collaborative. So I'm happy Mrs. Seifert and Mr. McKinley and you were able to come to amicable terms on that. Dr. Widmeyer and Mr. Briner, you two are the right people for the jobs, and so we know it's going to be a difficult year next year financially, but when we have the right people in the right places, that helps a lot. So good luck to you both, and that's all for me. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Swift.
A couple of things, Madam Chairman. Mrs. Messina and I attended the Florida School Board Association President's Retreat a couple of weeks ago, and the economic information that was given out was certainly better than anything we have heard up until this point in time. It's still not good, but it is significantly better. Question, did you all receive an email from Ruth Melton with the matrix for the School Board Association platform? Make sure you fill it out and send it back for input, and anything you want to pass on to me is be gratefully appreciated as well. Mr. Desgan has always been a tremendous supporter and defender of this school district, and has defended our taxing situation at every opportunity that he's been given. So we can always trust that he will pass out the absolute correct information. And he, as I said, has been a tremendous friend and defender of our taxing situation to the public, and we certainly owe him our thanks. My compliments also to Dr. Whitaker and those involved for their coming together on his contract. I think I know of some of the situations that he was referring to, and they have not been pleasant, but once again we have shown the rest of the state how to do it. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Mr. Briner and Dr. Widmeyer, congratulations on your new positions, and I know that you will both serve us well in that capacity and do your best for student success. I also wanted to give kudos to the guidance departments. I went to college night, which was held at Port Charlotte High School, and it was a very impressive, diverse group of colleges and some tech centers and armed service recruiters, and very well attended as well. And I was impressed with the crowds, and they said, oh, if you'd been here a half hour ago, you couldn't have even walked through. So good job by all of them. And also, Dr. Widmeyer, your department, excellent handling of the possible abduction of the student. A very scary circumstance, and it appeared to have, we had a very good process in place to handle parent concerns and work with law enforcement, and it was just very well done. So congratulations to you and your department, and thank you. Next is superintendent comment. Dr. Gaylor.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. You all, I think, probably saw Steve Cummings' note today on the storms. Wayne Saladay has contacted us. That storm is going to be pretty nasty for the next couple of days, and we've already had a number of parents call and ask if we were calling off school for tomorrow or the next day. We are not going to call off school unless for some reason it transforms into a serious tropical storm or hurricane, but right now that is not the case. So, but I just want you to know, as board members, and if the public is watching this, any of our folks, it's going to be a pretty rainy, windy, nasty couple of days, we understand. So I don't know that they've named the storm yet. I didn't look at the news after 5 o'clock, but it would be Nicole if they do. So it's coming across over the next 24 to 36 hours. It's going to be pretty nasty. So I think there are going to be some soggy kids as well as adults from that storm. Then, just as a reminder, we've got a workshop on Friday. I've got several items on that, including some updates on parts of our health insurance plan in the clinic. Dr. Whitaker is going to talk with you about some goals. And then, of course, Neola. We have got to have some Neola policies on our board workshop. So Mrs. Mellinson will take you through that. We might even have Mr. McKinley there. You never know.
Who knows? That's right.
So we've got those two things coming up. And then, as you know, as I've talked to you about a couple of months ago, we're going to move the transition from my superintendency to Dr. Whitaker up a little bit. We had planned on January, December, but a couple of things have happened. First of all, Dr. Whitaker is a pretty quick study, so he's really ready to go, and I appreciate that. So around the middle of October, we're going to transition to him acting into the superintendent's position, and then on the 26th of October, which is the only board meeting that we have in October, he plans to take his oath of office. So he would become your permanent superintendent at that point. And for me, it's a good time to transition too, because I have a whole lot of activities that I'm going to work with Dr. Whitaker on as soon as he begins acting, so that he does not have to spend the time doing those things. I can do those things out in the schools and in our offices here, and provide him with a whole lot of information to really give him a good head start. And he can begin the day-to-day activities of the superintendency. So I'm pleased that we're going to be able to do that. And I know I've given you all of the information on that, what I'll be doing, what he's going to be doing. So I think it's gonna work out pretty well. It also works out for me pretty well because I need to be prepared for a December addition to our family, as you know. So I want to make sure that I'm ready. So I'm getting pumped up and getting in shape and doing all those things that I think I need to do. And then I'm sure I'll be completely surprised at what really happens. So, but I think I'm getting prepared. So that's going to be a really nice thing for me as well. Now, I happen to have a list of all the superintendents here that have served Charlotte County, starting with Mr. Bell, who was elected in 1921 and who served 12 years. But he didn't serve the longest. Miss Sally Jones actually served the longest as superintendent here. She was elected 4 times. She served 16 years and served from 1936 to 1952. Incidentally, I was born in 1952, so she was going out, I was coming in, sort of. So she served 16 years. Of course, you all remember Bob Bedford, and we see him fairly frequently in Tallahassee and at other meetings. And Bob served 13 years, so he was the second longest serving superintendent in the district, serving from 1981 to 1994. Mr. Bell, who was our first superintendent, served from 1921 to 33, and he served 12 years, so he was the third longest serving superintendent. And I'm happy to be the fourth longest serving superintendent. You appointed me on the 13th of March 2002, and as of the 26th of October, that will be 8.7 years. So I will be the fourth longest serving superintendent. I've been happy to have served you for that 8.7 years. It's been a true joy. It's been quite a challenge as well, but we have had some incredible times. So I just wanted to say thank you for that. So I've got a few words for you, just a few. And first, I know Margie's not here, and Edie has taken her place this evening. And thank you, Edie, very much for the short notice and coming in and taking Margie's place. But Margie will watch this, and she, of course, has been, just incredible over these last 8.7 years. As a matter of fact, I told her once when she was out having knee surgery, the first year or so that I was here, that she could never be out again for any length of time because it almost killed me. And everybody pitched in and helped. But Margie is out for a couple of weeks probably with a serious medical issue. But what a wonderful help she has been to all of us and to me especially. And I know that as Doug comes in, that institutional knowledge of just about everything it takes to run an office, a superintendent's office, almost any other office. She's worked in so many of them. To make sure that the board agendas are here on time are really going to become invaluable to you. So Margie, as you listen, I love you, and what a job she's done. So I thank her for that tremendously. And Mr. McKinley, I just have to say, thank you for your advice over the years. You've been, I think, board attorney for almost 30 years now.
Longer than you've been alive.
Longer than I've been alive. So he started when Mr. Bell took over in 1921. So really appreciate your advice over the years, and we've worked, on more things that I can even remember right now.
Frightening to think about.
It is frightening to think about how much money we spent on Mr. McKinley, too. But it's been good, and I appreciate your friendship and your advice, not just on things with respect to the school system. It's been a pleasure. And I know you kind of want to sometimes hand it over to Cheyenne, but I think the board could use your expertise and the knowledge that you have for many years to come. So I hope that we get to see you. And of course, Mr. Swift, I have to say a word or two about you.
Okay.
You might not want me to, but just to see what each board member brings to this board and to reflect on it is really pretty easy because each of you have your distinct strengths. None of you have weaknesses, of course.
Until after the 26th of October.
Then I'll be writing my book. but the strength that I think that you bring is a resourcefulness, and your experience on the board for now 16 years and going on 20 with your election here in August is just invaluable. And over the years, the kinds of things that you've brought to the board, the suggestions that you've made to the board and to the staff have been appreciated. And of course, not all of them have we agreed on. We never have agreed on everything, but we've ended up figuring it out, and I've appreciated that very much. So your resourcefulness, your friendship, your ability to work as a cohesive member of this board is just phenomenal. So I thank you for that, and I thank you for your support of me all those years and taking a chance. So I appreciate it. And Mrs. Messina. You don't want to dive under that?
I kind of do, yeah.
Yeah, see, no, you don't want to do that. But I always remember you calling me stubborn for all these years, and you're right. But I think it's because we're both stubborn, and I think you bring to the board. Yes, I think you are. But it's in a good way, and I think that your commitment to children and being a board member that has children, and I know several of you, I guess all of you really, have had kids in the school system at one point or another. But you're the board member currently that has kids in the system, and I think that perspective has brought to the board something a little bit different and something that shows a deep and abiding commitment in education, because you want what's best for your own kids, and so you're always looking out for them. But being a teacher for so many years in this district and other districts has also given you a wonderful perspective on how you believe that things should be run. You have a wonderful way of speaking, and people enjoy listening to you and working with you, and you have a collaborative way about you, and I have appreciated that. And again, like with Mr. Swift, we haven't always agreed on everything, but we've always worked it out. We've always figured it out, and I've always found that your advice and the way that you want this school district to run is very ethical and very effective, and it always has kids in mind. I appreciate that, and I've enjoyed that very much. So thank you for that service. And Mrs. Miller, now you came onto the board right after Charlie, but you were really a kind of a nice addition to the board at that particular time, because you had spent how many years in education here?
42.
42 years in education, and brought that expertise to the board. You brought the elementary perspective to the board, and I found you to be a thoughtful and genuine person, and someone who really wanted to learn everything they could about the system. And I know still to this day you say there's so much more to learn, and you're right, there is. You can't learn everything there is about a system even in 4 or 5 years, and I still feel like I need to learn about some things in the system as well. But I think you brought that genuineness and that true thoughtfulness and a perspective on children from the elementary level that I've really appreciated and enjoyed. I've enjoyed talking with you. You have a great sense of humor, and I really just value that very much. So thank you for your service, and thank you for working with me and putting up with me, and in times when I'm sure you didn't want to. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
And Mrs. Rendell. Now, what I love about Mrs. Rendell is we need to get down to business.
Give me the bottom line.
Give me the bottom line. So what I can always count on in a conversation with Barbara is, okay, Doc, what is the bottom line? What's the deal? What's going on here? Tell me, just tell me. And that has served the board very well, because you move us along in times when we don't move very quickly. And so I've appreciated that. It's something that every board needs, and it's something that you do very well. And I appreciate your intensity on that, because it moves us in places where I don't think we would have gone. And that's absolutely necessary for a board to have. I've also appreciated our personal relationship, because I think we have a good friendship. I've enjoyed that. I enjoy talking about the building of your house and the environmental impacts and all of those kinds of things. We just seem to spin off into conversations from time to time that are very interesting to me. So thank you for that. And I just have to say, you're one of the best writers I've ever seen. Your articles, a series of articles that you did, the kinds of things that you wrote about and the way that you wrote about were so easy for me to read, so easy for the community to read, and I think you really made a mark there. And I know we've got this series of articles that we're doing now, and yours is going to be coming out at some point whenever they decide to publish it. But your skill at writing is just wonderful, and you express yourself beautifully that way. So thank you for what you brought to the board and what you've helped me with, and you know, again, keeping me moving sometimes when I wasn't moving as quickly as I should have been. So it's been a good relationship, and I've appreciated that. And Mrs. Seifert, now next board meeting is your last board meeting too, so you're retiring after 16 years. And I've appreciated being a fellow Gator with you. That's always fun. And
just for you.
And she's got the pen on now. What I've really enjoyed about our relationship is, you know, you've got a compassion for children that you bring to this board and you bring to every relationship and education that I've ever known you to have. Whether you're working with the chamber, whether you're working with us on a board workshop, or somebody in the business field, there's a compassion for kids, and there's a real focus on what is right and ethical, and you bring that. But doggone it, boy, when you get on a...
She got stubborn. I thought I was going to escape.
No, you take the cake on that. There's a lot of stubbornness on the board here, but you really take the cake. Your intensity, when you feel like something needs to be said or done, or something is wrong, you never quit. And that's a good thing. I'm not saying that in a bad way. That's a good thing, because it continually has made me and us think about things that, honestly, I thought were forgotten. But you didn't forget them. And you would bring things up, and you would talk about things, and you would remember things that sometimes we just forgot that we needed to remember. And it was all about kids. What's best for kids? What's best for this district? How can this district make it better for kids? Everything you've done has been with a compassion and an intensity and a real stubbornness and a real set of values that this board couldn't do without. So each one of you has brought something a little different to this school board, and has brought something to my tenure here that I think is a little unusual, because even though you brought something different, I don't remember too many 4-1 votes. I only remember 3, and one of them was when you hired me. Honestly, I don't. There have been some 4-1 votes on things where you really felt like you needed to make a statement. But to see a cohesive board where each one of you brings something so completely different to it is really astonishing. 174 board meetings I've worked with you. And on Friday, I'll just tell you now, it's 187 workshops. So we're closing in on 375, 400 meetings together, not counting the many other things where we've talked individually, or we've been in attendance at chamber and other types of meetings. So to see so many different attributes in you, but yet work cohesively, to me says that in the world of interests and partnerships, this partnership among the 6 of us, and I probably would include a lot of our community and a lot of our staff here too, has been one of the truest partnerships that I've ever been involved in. And it's been a productive partnership. It's been fun in a lot of ways, and it's been hard and challenging. And I think we've grown closer together because of those challenges and the difficulties that we've faced. But I got to tell you, it's been a great partnership. It's been a true partnership. It's one where our interests are different, but we always find a way, and we always have found a way, to make this district run very well and run with the interest of students at heart. Our vision, our mission, our values say it all. And you created those so many years ago from 5,200 various visions that we had back in 2003. And we distilled that down to our vision, mission, and values. You're a together board. You're an awesome board. But individually, you're even more incredible. And I thank you. That's all I have.
Well, thank you for that. And we remember back on May 6, 2002, there was an air of excitement and anticipation as you became our new superintendent of Charlotte County Public Schools. And at that time, the board had a vision from the video, the famous video, of exemplary leadership and a district culture that we really wanted to see. And you accomplished that and then some. You exceeded our expectations. During your 9 years with the district, we've really seen a positive culture change, much due to your preeminent leadership. You have modeled leadership in its finest form with your warm, relaxed, visionary style and your collaborative spirit. You have been an inspiration to many as you live your beliefs, your values, the 7 habits of highly effective people. You have earned the respect and the trust of this district and our community. And so individual board members now are going to talk about specific notable areas. And we're going to start with Mr. Swift.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. Dr. Gaylor, I'm going to talk for a minute or two about the facilities, operations, HR areas of your leadership. Hurricane Charlie gave this district, although an unforeseen opportunity, a tremendous opportunity to change itself, to change its physical structure. And what gets lost in the actual accomplishment is the planning and the ability that had to happen to make that happen. And it was always done with students as the focus, but yet balancing it with the needs of the community and the desires of the community. And because of that, you mentioned superintendents from the first one on. There are probably only 2 people who will end up with their name on more buildings in this district than you will. And that is a living accomplishment that will last for years. Every segment of the community, every segment of the school system has been affected. But I think in HR is one of the areas that we have made some tremendous strides, because it was a developed concept of the entire board that we wanted to move into the collaborative and interest-based process. And your adoption of that and moving it forward and placing it in a position where I think it is about ready to become institutionalized. It still needs some shoving and some dragging every now and then, but I think we're well down that road, and it's going to be one of the lasting legacies that you will leave. And you have included our union membership in all of the discussions that we have had, and I think that has been important and has gained you their respect as well. Financially, you have placed us in a position, I think, as good as we can be in to meet the challenges we're going to face over the next months and couple of years. That's taken a lot of effort on everybody's part to make that happen. But lastly, I think you have valued the team concept of board and superintendent. And I know FSBA preaches the relationship between the board and the superintendent as being a team. And I know I told you in one of our earliest meetings that my personal feeling was that for you to be successful, the board had to be successful. And for the board to be successful, you had to be successful. And you embraced that concept, and it has made it much easier for us as a board to function. And I thank you for that.
Mrs. Messina.
Thank you. This district has made great strides in planning during your tenure as superintendent, and you mentioned the emphasis on planning already when you spoke about the vision and the mission and the values. That occurred almost immediately after you came into this district, and it was a very expansive visioning process that we went through. Through the meaningful inclusion of many stakeholders, we were able to create that vision, mission, and values, and more importantly than that, that has been the compass for our district decisions for the last 9 years. The district's plan to achieve student success, which we all call the PASS document, helps to align school learning plans with the district's strategic plan, and there wasn't always an alignment there. These documents, they're updated annually, but they have a focus on meaningful goals that come out of student performance data and high-level expectations. And again, that wasn't always where the emphasis might have been. Aligning the district budget with the strategic plan and the goals and the school learning plans has also been a crucial element in the planning process that we've really come to expect in this district. So now there's a smooth working relationship for schools in the district. All the goals are in alignment. As kind of was referenced earlier, all of the departments, all of the divisions have gone through comprehensive policy review with annual updates, sometimes not willingly, but it has occurred, and it's meaningful, and they know the importance of it. Our capital projects work program has gone from 5 years to 10 years to 20 years. It includes both funded and unfunded projects, and it's because of the advanced planning on some of that stuff that we were eligible for the stimulus dollars that helped us with the capital projects that we're now able to fund. Probably the area where planning has been most visible is the financial planning, because it's through the last few years of financial planning and really setting down and looking through things that we've been able to creatively address challenges and been able to maintain programs and staff members, professional staff members, support staff members during very difficult budget constraints. So without the foresight and preparation that went into each budget year, we would have been in a much more dire situation, and this district could have been gutted, and it was avoided. So we really appreciate your attention and your leadership in that area. You've led the district's planning efforts with compassion and commitment and diligence and stewardship, and you have just been an instrumental transition person for the district. And so I want you to know that we're in a better place because you've served as long as you have, and we truly appreciate your contributions to this district. It has been my honor and privilege to serve with you, and I know you would not feel complete if I didn't say that I wish you much good luck and success.
Thank you, ma'am.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes. Dr. Gaylor, under your guidance, learning gains have been steady and consistent throughout our district. During your tenure, our school system has been rated an A district every year since schools have been eligible for that distinction. The past 2 years, we have been one of the first districts to be awarded the title of high-performing school district. District schools consistently earn A's and B scores in the state's A+ and A++ plan for education. Charlotte County Public Schools are ranked number 1 in the state of Florida for the second consecutive year, with 61% of our students scoring a 3 or higher on advanced placement exams. No other district in the state scored in the 60 percentile range. Our Head Start program at Baker Academy is in the top 15 in the nation. Neil Armstrong Elementary is recognized as Florida Title I Distinguished School. Only 17 schools out of a possible 1,400 received this recognition. Career and technical programs have been expanded and career pathways developed. A K-12 program of career education, including labs at the elementary level, have been steadily increased. Curriculum has increased in rigor and relevance. High school honors, dual credit, and advanced placement classes have been expanded. Middle school honors and high school credit courses have been increased. Ninth grade houses have been established and proved a successful safety net for high school freshmen. Educational opportunities for students through partnerships with Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University, Edison College, and Edison Collegiate High School have increased. To accomplish this, the district must have outstanding staff members. All employees have been afforded opportunities to improve their leadership, instructional, or support student skills. Staff training through Professional Development Academy, CAPE and CASE have flourished and raised training to the status it deserves. Offerings are varied, high quality, and clearly tied to classroom instruction and leadership skills that focus on improving student achievement. Dr. Gaylor, through your insight and true concern for our students and employees, you have taken us from a good school district to a system that is harboring on great. I want to thank you for all the caring and support you have given Charlotte County Public Schools. For the past 9 years, we will miss you. Thank you.
In the area of leadership, your support and encouragement of leadership training and opportunities for all employees has built the capacity of many individuals and strengthened the entire Charlotte County Public School team. Your calm, steady, positive leadership after Hurricane Charlie has to be mentioned. Your highly effective leadership in those times showed your character, your integrity, and your remarkable ability. Your Level 5 leadership was such a blessing in those difficult days. You are a constant source of support for our employees, our students, our entire community, and the rebuilding process during those long and challenging years. Another aspect of your leadership that is greatly valued is your visibility in the schools and in the community. Your personal contact with employees and citizens through emails, visits, service on local board, and attendance at school and community activities is appreciated more than you could know. Many lives are healthier due to your modeling of good health habits, wellness, and practicing of sharpening the saw. Doc's Dash, the Master Fitness Challenge, and our wellness policy have had a significant effect on many individuals, improving their quality of life and their overall health. The past couple years have been unlike any others. The nation, the state, and our county have all experienced economic conditions that have tested the best of leaders. You have led with guiding principles that have kept us on the right path. The present position of Charlotte County Public Schools is the tangible representation of the effectiveness of your leadership. You have always done what is best for our students, our employees, our district, and our community. It has really been our privilege and honor to have you as our superintendent. As you retire with distinction, we want to publicly recognize that you have positively influenced the lives of so many, our employees, our students, our citizens, and we will be eternally grateful. We thank you for that, and we know that you leave a legacy of student success. Thank you, ma'am. Mrs. Rendell.
Thank you. Dr. Gaylor, when I think about your 9 years as our superintendent, I think of the opening line from Charles Dickens' A Tale of Two Cities. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times. The worst, of course, has been Hurricane Charlie, the long recovery, and now the economic situation. But you transformed our worst times into our best times with your extraordinary competence and leadership. Through your decisiveness and clarity of thinking, through your incredible work ethic, through your sincere care and compassion for others, through your deep knowledge and understanding of education, through your trust in others to lead, and through your steadfast belief in our students' success, our district has thrived in times that would have doomed others. Because of you, Dr. Gaylor, Charlotte County Public Schools is an exemplary district that is highly regarded for its academic achievements. Your unwavering commitment to our vision and mission has us well positioned for continued success. Dr. Gaylor, I am so very honored to have known you and worked with you for the last 9 years. You are the embodiment of a highly effective leader and all that is good and honorable about education. And on top of everything else, you are one very cool guy, and I will miss working with you very much. I wish both you and your family the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you very much.
And now, if you will join us down on the floor, we have a little surprise.
You've been waiting to say that for years.
In honor of your service to Charlotte County Public Schools, the Professional Development Center forever shall be known as the Dr. David Gaylor Professional Development Center, a place where student success is the focus and continuous improvement of instructional and personal effectiveness is achieved. We chose this building in particular because of your belief in and your support of professional development and the tremendous impact that it has on teaching, learning, leadership, and personal growth.
How many board members and superintendents did it take? That is unbelievable. I was just hoping to have a bathroom named.
With a little flush toilet.
I don't even know what to say.
Now, we have not had the sign made because we weren't sure whether you wanted it to be the Dave Gaylor Professional Development Center, Dr. David Gaylor, Dr. Dave Gaylor, so
E.
Dr. David E. Gaylor.
You can say it.
So